Now before we start this video, there is something that is not quite right when it comes to what I'm wearing today. Everything looks medieval, everything looks Norse. But what is the one item I am wearing which is not technically authentic? I will reveal this at the end of the video, but let's go through what I'm wearing first of all. So as you can see, I am Braggy. I am your host for today, and I'm wearing some more of my many medieval clothes, weapons and gear. Let's go through what I'm wearing. The first thing is a hat. It keeps my head warm and I can wear it under my helmet and it's lovely. And the second thing I'm wearing is a grey cloak. I like to wear a grey cloak because it reminds me of what Odin wore when he travelled Middle Earth and the other 8 worlds. Then you can see I'm wearing a leather jerkin. This is to add a little bit of protection and warmth on this slightly cold day. Underneath I've got a under tunic, which is here, and a over tunic, an underskirtle and an overskirtle. Now the one on the outside is a little bit worn and frayed and it's got holes, and it was very cheap off eBay. I paid £5 for it and it's getting to the point where it won't last much longer, and eventually I'll take it apart and I'll use it for a pattern. I then have a pair of trousers and a good pair of turn shoes. So I've got a lovely pair of breeches made from wool, and they've got a very nice herringbone pattern. That shows that I have a little bit of wealth as a warrior, that I can afford herringbone, and herringbone is one of my favourite patterns. I have a helmet because I do have coin, because I've got a sword and a sax and an axe. I've got 2 leather belts on. I've got one for my sword and I've got one for my sax or sax. And then I've got a leather shoulder bag. As you can see, as I spin around, I'm spinning around. So these are the items I am wearing today. Plus I've got a Thor's hammer, just to represent that I am a Norse pagan. This is one I made many years ago. I used to make Thor's hammers and sell them on Etsy, which I might do again in the future. As you can see, I'm well tooled up. Would a warrior of my status have a sword, an axe and a sea axe? Well yes, you know, I'm playing a middle class soldier or warrior, and I'm at the point where I'm leaving middle class and I'm going to the elites, because only 1 to 10% of people had a sword. So I'm getting to the point in my status where I'm getting wealthy, but I'm not wearing colourful colours like blues and reds and yellows and pinks. And I think, and there's one more thing, I've got a water bottle with some water in, because it's very important back in the medieval times that you had the ability to carry water, and this water has been boiled and I've already drank it because I was thirsty. So back in the day you would have a leather water carrier with a little bit of wood in the end, which I'm missing actually, got to make on camera as another project, and reline it. It does hold water, and these are fantastic, these are, and one of these days I'm going to make one. And you have to boil the water because you need to make sure that your water is safe. I'm also wearing some authentic socks. I'm not wearing authentic underwear. You can have that one straight away, which I don't have any really, but I do think they would have had some sort of under trousers made from linen, because wool can be really itchy, especially when it's coarse. So these are the items I'm wearing. You know, it says I've got money and wealth. I'm not wearing any leg bindings because they're in my other shoulder bag and I forgot to put them on. So what item am I wearing which is modern? I'll turn around again so you can have another look. Can you spot it? Can you find it? Is it hiding under my cloak? Can you see it? I'm going to give you the answer. It is indeed, you may have guessed it, I don't know whether you have, It's my trousers. These are modern wool trousers, and you know they've got a modern fastening and a modern zip. You can't see that. It's fine in my mind because you're never going to see that aspect of it unless I'm going bare-chested, which I don't often do because I've got too much of a belly. So these trousers I found in a charity shop for £1, and they are made from wool. And the only thing I need to do with them is take the seam down and undo the seam and take some material off and make them a little bit more narrow. So it does show you that even as a medieval warrior, you can fundamentally go and buy clothing and items in charity shops which will suit you as a medieval warrior. So one instance of this is like fur. I bought a lot of fur and fur jackets because I take the fur apart and I line it around my helmets and my hats, and that looks nice. So that is what I'm wearing, which is modern. I've got a couple of pair of trousers which are modern. At some point I'm going to plan to do a video where I convert the trousers into more authentic looking trousers. I take away the zip, I'll take away the button. Now, trousers back in the day did have trouser loops for a bolt, and one thing you can't see is that I'm wearing a bolt on my trousers because that stops my trousers from falling down. And it is an authentic bolt, but I like to wear one on my trousers, which is my #1 tip for wearing trousers and breeches, because the last thing you want in battle is for your breeches to start falling down. And you know, as a novice that happened to me a couple of times. I was very embarrassed. But you learn that lesson, and some old Viking said, well, just get yourself another bolt and bolt it around your trousers and tie it tight, and then your trousers will never fall down. And did you guess? If you did, then do leave it in a comment, because I love to see how many people guessed correctly, because you probably don't imagine that these are not authentic, and because of the wool and the design. It'd be nice if the herringbone was a bit broader, but you'll get away with it. So it does show that on a budget you can, you know, buy some things like these trousers that will be authentic. Of course, you're going to go to a charity shop, you're never going to find a tunic or a under tunic. You're never going to find fundamentally a hat, but at least, you know, if you can find yourself a cheap pair of trousers, at least you've got a spare pair for the weekend. But I do recommend having a proper handmade pair of trousers, which will probably cost you £100, but they'll last you a long time. Do leave a comment and do subscribe if you are new. And there's one more thing you didn't spot. I got my phone in my helmet so I can see my intro script. Hey, they're very nice trousers. It's the wrong trousers.